Welcome to the notes on additional proportions in triangles. The first one we're going to look at is when we have parallel lines and the proportions that they create. So if we have parallel lines that go through, all right, two lines, all right, it makes the sides proportional. So there's a lot of proportions here. It just depends how you set it up, which has been the case with all proportions. You have to be consistent. So one example, okay, we could go AB, all right, we go kind of left to right. AB is 2. Well, what side's on the right side? AG as, well, let's go BC, which is this segment right here, is 2. Well, what segment's on the others? On the right side, GF. That's one way to set that up. Okay, we could also go kind of top to bottom. I could say, hey, AB is 2. Well, what BC as, now on the other side, go top to bottom. AG is 2. All right, GF. All right, so there's another way to set up. And there are a lot more up here. I'll give you one more example so you guys can see it. I could say, hey, maybe AD, the whole length. Again, I can just kind of make these up. Well, what's the whole length on the other side? Well, that would be AE. So I'm kind of going left to right as, and I can pick any segment. I'll say as AB is to AG, this piece right here. So again, there's a lot of proportions. Just depends how you set them up, but they're all going to be equal. So now let's get to an example to just kind of get the pattern. Here's some parallel lines going through two lines, and again, it divides those sides proportionally. So as we look through it, it says BY, which is right here, is to BD. So that little piece to the whole piece. So on this side, we're going to go TM. There's that little piece kind of on the right. What's the whole piece? TE. So we'd say TE here. And that's how these work. Just kind of find how they're setting them up, and again, create the proportion. If they say AY, so where is AY? So A is down here at the bottom. AY is to AM, which is on this side, so that whole thing. Then they're saying DY, so it says this piece, well, that must be to EM on this side, so it's EM. Let's take a look at one more example here. I'll get rid of those lines. We've got TE this time. So TE right here is to BD on this side, so we're kind of going right to left, as blank is to AD. Well, AD is on this side. Oops. AD is this piece right here. Well, on this side, it must be AE. So as AE is to AD. Oops, let me write that a little neater. But you can see how we set it up, all right? The piece on top to the pieces on bottom. Okay, now let's get to some actual values. All right, now we have some values. We know that the parallel lines divide them up proportional. Again, it doesn't matter how you set these up. You just want to be consistent. So in this case, I'm going to go top to bottom. So I'm going to say, hey, 5 is to X, as on this side, 6 is to 4.5. Again, it's not the only way I could have set it up, but that's the way I decided to do it there. I could have went across, doesn't matter. But now, how do you solve any proportion in the world? Hey, just cross multiply. So we're going to get 6X equals 5 times 4.5. That's going to be 22.5. Oops, 22.5. And then I'm going to divide each side by 6, divide each side by 6. So X is going to equal, I'll do it right down here, X is going to equal 3.75. Okay, so another example over here. Again, a little bit different. There's a lot going on. Again, we can go left to right or top to bottom. I'm going to go top to bottom again. So I'm going to say, hey, X is to 6. So I'm going to say, hey, X is to 6. As, now let's go to the other side. Now, I need to find this piece. Well, if the whole thing is 9 and this is 5, well, this must be 4 up here then. This little piece right here must be 4. So I'm going to say X is to 6 as 4 is to 5. That's one way to set it up. Again, that's not the only way, all right? If we wanted to, all right, we could go like the top to the bottom. I could say X is to, what's this whole piece? I could say X is to, well, that would be X plus 6 equals this piece again. We'd have to kind of figure that out, all right, which in this case which would be 4 is to 9. And then we could cross multiply and divide. Either way, we're going to get the same answer. When you do it this way, make sure to distribute so you get 9 times X equals 4 times X plus 6. All right, but over here, I'll solve this one for us. X is to 6 as, oh, this piece right here, we didn't know what it was. That should be a 4, I'm sorry. All right, because again, this piece is 4. When we cross multiply, 5X equals 24 divide each side by 5, so x is going to equal 4.8. Let's take a couple more examples, and we will be done. Okay, now this one, all right? Now, when it divides the sides, it divides the sides, it creates these two triangles. We know it's proportional. So these aren't necessarily proportional, but we have similar triangles. Okay, so when I set these up, all right, I've got this triangle right here, which is 7 and 5, and then I've got this big triangle right here, which now we want to be careful, okay? This at the bottom is x. What is this side? It's not 14, it's 21. It's 7 plus 14. So when now you can see that I can set up this proportion. I can say, hey, 5 is to x. If I go big to small, 5 is to x as 7 is to 21. When I do that, I cross multiply. I get my 7x. I get it equal to 5 times 21, all right, which would give me 105. Divide each side by 7. X equals 15. So again, be careful when you're setting up those, making sure you have the right side lengths of the triangles. Highly recommend redrawing them. Then the last one, if you get an angle bisector, all right, we know where angle bisect, all right, bisects each angle, we know that they're equal, all right, right there, there's the symbols for it. Then we can just say, hey, we can compare this to, we can kind of compare the pieces that divides them proportionally. So I can say 6 is to 4.5, all right, kind of the pieces on the left side as 10 is to x. From there, again, once you got it set up, easy to solve, just cross multiply. 6x equals 10 times 4.5 is 45. Divide each side by 6. So x equals, this one ends up being 7.5. So there you go. That is how you solve those problems with the additional problems involving proportions.